Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing Black Clover Chapter 288 titled Manifest. So spoiler warning, spoiler alert. Before we begin, also two things. One, if you're new here, consider joining and hitting the sub button down below right there. I do this every week, so right there, somewhere there. Also number two, no panels this week again because of the copyright strike, so we're playing it safe. I wouldn't be coloring a panel either. If I do color a panel, I would leave it on my Instagram, so feel free to go follow me there to see the colored panels. Um, so yeah, let's dive straight into this. Of course. So yeah, Black Clover 288 manifest. So the chapter starts off and we see Finral talking, but we don't see his whole face. We see from like his nose down, and he's like Asta went ahead basically, and he's basically always in a hurry. And we see what seems to be an outer view of the Spade Kingdom. And we see the vines growing from the building and the big hole in the building, and what seems to be probably the entrance Asta made to go in. Um, we next see Asta standing in front of Lilith and Namet. I believe their names are the two supreme devils, and we see is it Gilmedo, Gilmodo, Gilmodello. Keep confusing these names because they're confusing for these devils. But basically he's hugging Nox's face and he's crying. He doesn't want nothing to happen to Nox basically. And we see Nox speaking to Asta, and he tells him you're extremely late, but he's the final piece that they needed for this big plan, of course. And to leave him, he doesn't matter, to go on. And Asta tells him he can't leave him to go fight the Dark Triad because it was thanks to him he got stronger. So showing appreciation basically to him. Um, so now that Guillermo Modelo is back to Noct, we may be seeing him using that form now. Also, now that Asta is here, as he said, he's the main part of this plan, of course, because we learned that earlier on Asta was the only one that could defeat the devils. So then we cut and we see Asta speaking, and he tells Noct to live and witness his strength basically. And Noct basically sees his brother Morgan and Asta in a sense, because we get like he sees a little image of Morgan next to Asta, so he in his mind Asta reminds him a lot of his brother. And we see not thinking to himself if he really did imagine a new dawn, because I guess he intended this to be maybe a final mission, a suicide mission where he would die. Um, and then we see Asta talking to himself, and he's like, "Oh, and we expect some big badass speech." And nope, Asta is still a clown. He's like, "Oh, wait a minute, has already passed. He could only stay in union form for 5 minutes." So yeah, we then see the demon looking, or the devil looking at its hand, as in last chapter they cut off one of their arms. So they're excited now because they say for centuries down in hell or the underworld they didn't have this much fun, so they want more excitement. And we see Lee um, talking, and he said he's laughing, and he said, "Who thought I'd run into you in this world?" So he mentions them by name as well, because remember, Nak didn't tell us the names of the demons. So Lee mentions he didn't think he would see Lilith and Nama, these high level devils here. So pause right there. First now, the first thing to notice about that is one, of course, Lee knows them. How, we don't know. Maybe there were some of the devils that tortured him when he was back in the underworld. Um, but that's interesting. So I'm wondering if he's going to know every devil that we run into going forward. Um, but but that is pretty cool to know that he knows them. And they launch an attack, and we see Asta use his Demon Destroyer or Demon Slayer, the big sword, and and he cuts the flame in half with his anti-magic, and then we get a huge panel of him fighting with them. So they use what seems to be a ice fire tornado, and Asta uses his black tornado where he spins with the sword like a tornado, and he counters it and he swings at one of them. But when he does, that one turns into fire completely. So the physical body that is just vanished. So I would compare that to maybe like a Logia in One Piece, then how they just vanish with their element, like when you hit them. So Asta swings on them and they vanish and they appear behind him. And again, they keep taunting him and being super excited about, can you hit us? Can you swing your blade and hit us? And they charge at him. And we see Asta jumping around super fast. And they are two and they're speed blitzing and attacking and fighting. And Asta pulls out his third sword now, and I believe this is the one he got with the little clover on the front. I forgot the name of this one. I'm not sure. This is the one that I believe he used to take. Is it the elves out of the people and the poison out of that guy in one of the fights? But he pulls out this sword and we see the demons like some sort of spark, black spark behind them, and they're like, what? And I'm guessing he somehow, this is maybe some new attack that he learned. We're not sure what exactly it is, but we see him use it, and basically he begins to do whatever this attack is. Maybe we'll get clarification next chapter. And he manages to damage one of the devils because the chapter ends when he swings down and cuts one in half. Um, and the chapter ends there. So Asta more than likely maybe have defeated this one because it looks like he cut him in half. So yeah, um, and the chapter ends there. So let's discuss this now. So Asta is here, like I said. We see that he obviously powered up. He seems to have better control of his swords. Um, we know the big one he used to ride. He can ride it now. Then like a surfboard, kind of like Silver Surfer. Um, but what can he do with the others? Now that is the main question. So we see he does this new ability with one, where he did something to the devils. We don't know. And now we have two other swords that we need to see what he can do with it. Because there's Yami's katana, and then there's the next sword that absorbs energy and fires it back, or magic and fires it back. So we need to see what new abilities he has with those. So I'm thinking we would see that later on. Um, Also, knocked. I'm guessing again knocked is done for here, as in the fight, not dead. So he's probably going to be out of commission for the rest of this big fight. Um, and this chapter flew by really fast as well because I mean it's a fight chapter. There wasn't much words to say words. Um, we did not get a glimpse of any of the other fights going on at the moment. So this was strictly Asta and I guess the Devil's chapters. Um, so yeah, it was a good chapter. Um, it raises some questions, of course, because I mean I'm still curious as to what is going to happen with Asta and how this fight is going to play out. Because if he's the only one that could essentially hurt the devils, that is, or kill them, uh, I'm wondering how is he going to fight all three members of the Dark Triad, or if he's going to have to go one by one and battle each one of them, because they're like around the big sigil on the ground where Yami and William Vengeance is. So maybe he would have to make the rounds and go around and fight them one by one and help each team. But then again, he said his time limit is still 5 minutes, so we also need to look at that because 1 minute has passed. And I would say at the end of this chapter, maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes has passed, so that means he would have 2 minutes left. So would he have to depower and be back to normal Asta? Um, and recharge, kind of like Luffy. When Luffy uses Gear Fort, you know, when it runs out, his haki runs out, he has like a 10-minute break before he can do it again. Is it something like this way? Asta needs like a half an hour break, 1 hour break, because we didn't get specifics. So we need to know that as well. If he has some sort of time period break and what it is in between transformations, or if the transformations get, I wouldn't say weaker, but if they hold for less and less time, the more he uses it. So we need to get all that information still. But again, all in all, really, really good chapter. I enjoyed it. Um, I guess everyone else did enjoy it because I mean, Black Clover has been fire as of lately. So yeah, more than likely I'm going to try to color the last panel. Um, if I don't throw it up on YouTube, like I said, I'll throw it on my Instagram. My Instagram is linked below. Follow that. I post all my colored pictures there because I usually use them during the chapter and for the thumbnails. But due to copyright strike, as I said, I may not put it in here just to be safe. So if I do post it again, Instagram, go there, you'll see it. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you're new, consider hitting the like button, hitting the sub button. It's $3.99, $0, cost you nothing. It helps me, it helps the channel. And also share if you like anything I do. Share. Again, like I said, I'm new to this, still getting accustomed to it, still working on improving. So again, for a brand new YouTuber, please share, support, help, like, sub, all the other fancy stuff. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.